Hi, everybody. Psalmist David here with Fresh Bread. Excited to be with you. Thanks for joining me. And I have a little word of encouragement for you. And then some music. So it's going to be awesome today. What's on my mind is straight and simple. God is not into hype. Nope. God likes it straight, and as long as it is sincere, it has integrity, it is moral, he can go with something that's quite simple. He doesn't need the flamboyant and the exotic and the fantastic. All of these things are wonderful. Pageantry is lovely, and we like to see things done in levels of excellence and all this kind of stuff. But God doesn't need that. God doesn't need that, and so that gives comfort to those of us who are in circumstances where either we can't afford it or somehow it is beyond our reach, whether in terms of resources or skill level or something. God does not need that, and He certainly is not into hype. So, how can I say that? Well, King David built a simple tent for the Ark of God to reside in, and it was there for 30 something years. Actually, maybe even longer, but for sure 30 years. And worship was carried on in this place and in this large tent, a sukkah. And the instrumentalists and the prayer people and the worshippers, they all gathered, women and men, Gentiles and Jews. It was a very nice mix of worshippers. And then David wanted to build, and Israel wanted to build a formal temple, a big formal deal with lots of gold covered cedar wood and all sorts of paneling, and a real wonder of the ancient world. And it was said to be an informal wonder of the ancient world. And then David passed. David, of course, stocked up all of the gold, silver, the wood, all of the stuff, all of the materials that would be needed to build this temple. And his son Solomon was tasked with doing the job. So David passes on. Solomon is now king, and in the course of time, Solomon builds this temple, this majestic, huge, very tall structure with several panels of gold-covered wood and stories high, and and so the Jewish people are ecstatic. They have their temple. The Israelites, they have their temple. They are happy. And so now it's time to dedicate and have the first quote unquote service in the temple. And Second Chronicles chapter 5 from verse 2, Solomon assembled the elders of Israel, all the heads of the tribes, chief of the fathers, children of Israel, in Jerusalem, that they might bring the ark of the covenant of the Lord up from the city of David. So the tent which David had the ark of the covenant in now is the processional big pageantry to bring it in to the official temple, and it is really quite an occasion. I mean, everybody's in white linen, and I mean, teams of the musicians. He says, and it came to pass when the priests came out of the most holy place, and they had sanctified themselves, and the Levites who were the singers, all of the house of Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun, and they had cymbals, stringed instruments, harps, and with them 120 priests playing trumpets. That would have been quite a sound. And they processed up the hill to the new temple, and then it gives us an interesting account. It says, indeed, it came to pass when the trumpeters and singers were as one to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking the Lord. When they lifted up their voice and the trumpets and the cymbals, and everyone saying, for he is good, his mercy endures forever. that the house of the Lord was filled with a cloud, and the cloud was the glory of the Lord that came to rest in the presence. And it says that the priests could not minister because of the cloud. They couldn't see. The glory of the Lord had rested in that place. There was unison. So when the singers are singing the same thing as the instrumentalists, and the drummers are beating the same beat, and the trumpeters are playing the same note, and everybody is singing, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever, you had a level of unison that impacted the spirit world, and God was very, very pleased. I'm quite sure that their hearts were also as one in this. Everybody wanted to just worship God and give him praise for this wonderful new temple of worship. And this was going to be exciting. This was theirs. It was finally built. They had been promised since the time of David, and now Solomon is done, and it is there, and we're happy, and it looks beautiful. And then Solomon says these words: "The Lord said he would dwell in the dark cloud. I have surely built you an exalted house, and a place for you to dwell in forever. I have built you an exalted house and a place for you to dwell in forever." Now, for any local, when I say local, for any man, this would have been wonderful. You couldn't want any more than this. The people had done their best. This was a wonderful show of strength, a show of unity, a show of worship like they had never seen before, and God's glory fell in the place. But God had told David a couple of things. One was that he will always have a son to sit on the throne, as long as they followed his standards, as long as they lived for him and they obeyed his commands. There would not be a son of David that would not be on the throne. So he promised the son of David, son of Solomon, son. Well, by the time Solomon's son was on the throne, there was already trouble. And then Solomon's son, Rehoboam, and Jeroboam split the nation into two. And you had the northern tribes and you had the southern tribes. So, and therefore the northern tribes set up their own place of worship in the north at Bethel. They didn't want to come down south to this huge, beautiful, lavish temple that Solomon had constructed. The message here: if there's not integrity, if there's not morality, if there is not a hunger for God and a desire to live right before him, God will move on. He's not into all of the hype. He's not into how fantastic your place is. He's not into promises and what looks good on camera, what sounds good in the media. It can be very simple. But it has got to be true to his name, true to his standards. And that's when God stays with the program. So if you're finding yourself wanting to pad up things and add the pageantry to make it look good, to think that God will visit because it will look good, God is looking at hearts. He's looking at hearts. And so if you don't have a big budget, that's okay. If you don't have big names coming to your event, that's okay. God's presence will be with you where you have integrity and you're hungry for the Spirit of God to move. All right? To encourage you. Holy, holy, holy is our God. Holy, holy, holy is our God. He looks looks for us to walk with Him. Holy is our God. He wants us to be like Him. Holy is our God. Holy is our God. We want to please You. We want to please You, God. Your name is great. Your power is great. And we are Your people. We are Your people, oh God. Amen. Amen. Go with the simple, but go with God.